Alright, so I'm going to start off with the Link Charmer structure deck and the Linkslayer starter deck, so I can show you the contents inside each of the structure, inside each of the decks first, right off the bat. So let me pry this baby open. I have actually been waiting to open this since September. So this was actually, how do I open this again? I still can't figure out how to open this. Oh, found it. I thought the soft spot. They really like the packaging of this stuff. So we have the 3 things with the Phantom Rage scan thing, all that. So let's get into the deck. We have the we have the Earth Charmer and one of the tokens for the one of the alternate arts of the familiar of the Charmers and one of the tokens. So they have the promotional cards for this. So we've got the so these are actually randomized and stuff. So like in each structure deck, which makes it interesting. So we have, starting off with the actual structure deck itself, we have Awakening the Possessed Nefarious Archfiend, Awakening the Possessed Greater Inari Fire, which are practically the 2 new main monsters for the Charmer deck. Both of these have the ability to special summon themselves directly from the deck by discarding a spellcaster and a monster of the same attribute. Following that, we have the new Grand Spiritual Art Ichari, which is the field spell. Spirit Charmers, the main search spell in the deck. Regeki, which has a foil upgrade. And Possessed Partners, which is the new familiar Possessed trap card. So continuing on, these are some of the newer cards. Aside from the Regeki. Continuing on, we have the original 4 Charmers from the original things reprinted as common. We have the original Charmers. Aside from the Ranryu, which is the new edition, we have Gigabyte, we have the Soul Eater, we have Inari Fire, and the Ranryu. For the Charmers to go alongside them, alongside that, we have the Fairytale Sleeper, Luna, Fairytale Rilla, Sleeper, and Luna, which are practically an additional engine in the deck. We have the Witchcrafter Golem Maruru, we have the Dark Dorado, we have the Witch of the Black Forest. Also in here, which is actually really good because this card has things. Alongside that, we also have the reprint of Effect Veiler and Denko Sekka to continue on with the structure deck, which are actually pretty good too. These 3 cards right here are pretty good, especially in this deck because they is a spellcaster deck. So, these aside, we now get to go to the spell cards of the deck. We have Awakening of the Possessed, Secret Village of Spellcasters, Spell Book of Knowledge, Terraforming, Book of the Eclipse, Twin Twisters, and the reprint of Dark Ruler No More. One of the big cards we're actually needing for the structure deck. This one's actually huge because this is actually one that I actually wanted to get my hands on. For the rest of the card lineup, we have Unpossessed, we have the Charmer trap cards, we have the Metaverse, the Dimensional Barrier, and the Soul of Mourning for our trap lineup. Then, on top of that, we have the original art of the familiar Possessed to round up the structure deck itself. Now that we know the contents inside the structure deck itself, we can actually start off with the Linkslayer starter deck to reveal the contents inside this as well. Now this one's actually interesting because Linkslayer starter deck is actually iconic to me. It's practically how I started competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! It was actually 3 copies of this starter deck and 3 copies of the Encode structure deck. It was actually how I started competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was a kid, but we played based on the anime effects. This is actually the first starter deck that actually got me into physical competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! and also introduced a new monster type that I really wanted to play. But so let me get the wrapper off this. We can start with this starter deck. So this one we have Link Slayer. We have one of the more infamous cards for the starter deck, Decode Talker, Ram Cloudier, Honeybot, the most famous card, Link Spider, which is used in today's format, Bitron, Draconet, and Galaxy Serpent were the first 8 cards of the starter deck. Now this is actually the good, and we're actually looking for the Decode Talker and the Link Spider specifically. The Link Slayer and the Draconet is also a pretty good thing if we ever want to go the synchro route of the deck. But that's the start of the starter deck. Continuing on, we have the Mystery Shell Dragon. We have Beast King Barbaros, Cyber Dragon, Photon Thrasher, Evil Swarm Universe, X-Ryon Universe, my bad. Evil Swarm Magler something. Ryan Captain, and Singen, which is another form of classical card in the starter deck, continuing with some of the reprints that we have, giving us a lot of options. Continuing the trend, we have the Kree Bandit, the Marshmelon, we have the Card D, the Lightsworn Ryoku, Battle Vader, Swiss Scarecrow, and also another pretty effect in case we lose the first copy to round up the monsters. For the spell lineup, we have Silent Universe, Monster Reincarnation, Dark Hole, Torrential Mystical Space Typhoon, Book of the Moon, Forbidden Lance, United We Stand, Pod Duality, as well as Terraforming, Supply Squad, and Bird of the Mighty to finish off the spell lineup. And I'm actually looking forward with the Dark Hole, Mystical Space Typhoon, and Pod Duality in the deck. Now finishing off with our with the starter deck itself, we have Jar of Avarice, Call of the Haunted, a very powerful reprint, Mirror Force, another powerful staple, Torrential Tribute, Arena of Destruction, Bomb Strap Hole, Compulse Evacuation Device, Venus Chain, and Dark Bribe to finish off our Triath lineup. And that goes for the Link Slayer starter deck. Now that we know what's inside the contents inside both the starter deck and the structure deck, we can now move on to the third and final thing that we're going to open for the sealed only, for the beginning of the sealed only thing for our first episode. We have one box of Dual Overload. Now I've actually been waiting since September to open up the Link Slayer starter deck in the Dual Overload box. So I'm actually excited to actually be opening up. So I'm going to pry this thing open with its contents out of the box. We have the Giant Mystery card, which is Blue Eyes White Dragon from the art from the movie packs for our giant promo card. It's actually kind of cool. Now we get the packs of Dual Overload to open. We have right here 6 packs of Dual Overload. Major things that we are looking for is the Verde Anaconda, possibly some other cards. I'm actually excited to open this. So let's start with the first pack. We have Herald Light, we have Cubic Ascension, Madame Verde, Chaos Goddess, and Archilium Umbrella, which is a tuner monster. So we have already a Synchro monster and a tuner monster, which kind of varies our extra deck a little bit. We also have Madame Verde too, which is actually a good card to have, because this one increases the attack of spell cost of monsters by 1,000 for every. Alright, welcome back. I have just completed the decks here. So it took me actually about 30 minutes just to come up with a decent deck profile. So I have main deck, extra deck, and side deck using just the cards I had opened up with. So let's start with the main deck. So for the main deck, we have starting off with 2 copies of Beast King Barbaros. He's one of the main monsters. I chose him to be kind of like one of the main boss monsters of the deck. He's 3,000 attack. He can attack over pretty much anything. He has an effect where he can practically nuke your opponent's entire board. He's also an Earth attribute. So I decided to go with the Earth attribute for this variant of the deck. So continuing on, I have 3 copies of the Possessed Azua, the Earth Familiar Possessed. 3 copies of her. She has the effect of being able to special summon herself from the hand or deck, so she's an extender, and she's also a level 4 spellcaster with 1850 attack, which is actually pretty decent to have. Then continuing on, we have the Archfiend of Nefariousness and 2 copies of Link Slayer. Nefariousness is here because you can special summon him from the deck. You have Link Slayer also in here because he can discard cards and pop spell and trap cards on the field. So like you could be able to like remove like backward is another form of backward removal. Plus on top of that, he's a free 2,000 attack body on the board. So 2 and 1 of hit, 2 and 1 of them. Plus on top of that, both monsters are level 5, which means if I get a rank 5 XYZ, I can XYZ using both monsters. Continuing the trend, we have 3 copies of the Little Nefarious guy. We have the little version of him because he's another extender. He's a level 4, and he also has an effect, I believe, to destroy a face-up monster on the field. Continuing the trend, for the hand traps, we have 3 copies of Witchcrafter, Golem Maruru, and 3 copies of Effect Veiler. These are the 6 hand traps I practically decided to go for. I mean, between the Battle Fader and the things, I felt like these 6 were practically the best ones you can go with. You have Maruru to protect your things, and Effect Veiler to do as another form of disruption. Plus, on top of that, they're both spellcasters, which is the following trend in the deck. Next up is actually the spell lineup. We have 3 copies of Spirit Charmers. This is the field spell, or the search spell in the deck that searches out your possessed spell or trap cards, and is also one of your main forms of searching your Charmer monsters. 3 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge. It is one of your main draw spells in the deck. This allows you to draw 2 cards by the cost of sending one of your spellcasters or another spellbook card to the graveyard. Continuing the trend, we have 2 copies of Awakening of the Possessed, which is the continuous spell card that increases the attack for every monster of a different attribute. Considering the fact that more than half the monsters that are extra deck or different attributes, practically benefits this deck actually to some extent. Next up, we have the 1 Regeki and 3 copies. There were 3 copies of the Grand Spiritual Art Echari and the 1 Terraformer. So we chose this. So I'm running Echari in the main deck only because it's another method of searching. Plus on top of that, stops the first. It's also a negation effect where it can stop the first activated effect of your opponent's monsters. Geki is just like another form, just a form of removal. And for the last spell card, we run the 1 copy United We Stand. You are running kind of like a combo variant deck, and you're going to have a lot of monsters on the field. And this is one of the good ways to practically utilize the effect. Plus on top of that, this allows me to actually beat over monsters like Ultimate Conductor and stuff. That's it for spells. For the trap lineup, we have 3 copies of Possessed Partnerships. This is the trap card, which is a Monster Reborn, and I believe it has an additional effect. You can also destroy a monster on the field if you have 2 monsters with different attributes. Doing the trend, we have the 1 Metaverse to search out the field, another method of search out the field spell. 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, 1 copy of Mirror Force, because Torrential Tribute and Mirror Force are pretty good cards to have. Then, to finish things off, we have 2 Solemn Warning and 1 Jar of Avarice. Now the deck may actually change some point later on, but this is what I'm technically trying to run at the current moment. What I'm going to be running for the first episode of Sealed Only. So that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we have I just practically just filled it up to the brim with extra deck monsters. We have 2 copies of All Mirage, 3 copies of Link Spider, 1 copy of Armityle, the Starly Eater Dragon, for our Link 2, or Link 3 being 3 copies of Decode Talker, and our 1 XYZ Deguster Emerald to finish off the extra deck for right now. Side deck, we have for side deck 3 copies of Secret Village, 3 copies of Dark Hole, 3 copies of Twin Twisters, 3 copies of the new Dark Ruler No More, and 3 copies of Dingo Sekka to run off the rest of the side deck. And that should be it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, turn on notification bells so you don't so you can turn notified when I upload the next video. And thank you for watching the first episode of the installment of Sealed Only Charmers. Now I can't post up the duels or anything because my store doesn't allow me to bring any footage, bring any recording equipment inside, or people don't want me to have footage of the Sealed Only deck. So I'm gonna have so next episode I'm actually gonna tell you the results of what happened at my first locals. But other than that, talk to you later. Alright, so I'm going to actually start off with opening one of each of the starter and the structure deck so you guys know what's in these things. Now, I actually was going to tell you the deck profile, but after the horrible loss at my locals, I didn't want to describe it. So what happened was I went 0-3. I lost all 3 games, but the deck does have potential, but it does require some major improvement. So I actually scrapped the deck before I was able to get the full deck design out, but I do have a deck list that I will post later on down the line. So starting off, we have Cybers. So start off with the starter deck. We have Cybers Whitehat, Transcode Talker, Widget Kid, Signet Recovery, and Penstag for the promo cards. Then we have Leotron, Text Changer, Bitron, Claudia, Linkslayer Reprint as a common, Backup Secretary, Commander, Launcher Commander, Client, Bit Trooper, Glenville Guard, Beast King Barbaros, Cyber Dragon, Intolin, the Exron Universe, Evil Swarm, Marshmallow, Rico, Battle Fader, and Swiss Scarecrow. For the monsters, for the spells, we've got Signet Universe, Scapegoat, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Mystical Space Typhoon, Book of Moon, United We Stand, Card Trader, Bird of the Almighty, Eco Boost, which is actually one of the newer ones. So this card allows you to increase the attack of your monsters by 1,500 until the end of the turn. Supply Squad again, Silent Regression, which is a trap card that allows, if you link someone a monster, you can draw a card and destroy a card on the field. Shadow Spell called the Haunted, Mirror Force, Torrential Tribute, Bottomless, Zero Gravity, Compulse, and then of course Decode, Link Spider for reprints, and the all famous Link Revo for the extra to finish off the deck. So this is the starter deck. I'm actually going to put the starter deck aside now and pull out the structure deck. So the structure deck actually includes a lot more the more meta relevant stuff that we kind of need in the deck. Just wanted to pull out. Move those to the side. Other way, so here's the thing. So let me get this open. So this is the Power Code structure deck. We have Power Code Talker, Segmental Dragon, Sea Archiver, Flame Buffalo, Lady Debug, one of the most famous cards in Cybers, Datacron, Garbage Collector, Antillion, a card I don't really see much people use, Stormzyger, which is actually a very interesting card because this card is a 2400 body and is unaffected by monsters in the extra monster zone. Cybers Gadget, Geragado, a really interesting card. This is like a Battle Fate Eater or Honest in the hand, so you can make gain 1,000 life points. stuff, you have Timberwolf, you have Tengu, 2 copies, 1 copy Skullmeister, really starting to become more of a staple now. We have the Goblinberg, so we have another like warrior monster. We have Sky Blaster, we have Birdman, a very powerful card. Magical, we have Effect Veiler, of course, Magical Merton, Cosmic Compass, and Commander and Laundry Commander to finish off the monsters. For the spell cards, we have the Field Spell Signet Storm. This card, what it does is, so I'm not really explaining because a lot of people actually know what these cards are, but people who don't understand them, this is just a bunch of cyber stuff. People don't usually like the Cybers archetype. If you're into it, I'd suggest picking up all the decks, just to build the entire, get all the cards for the archetype. So continuing on, we have Night Beam, which negates set back row, Offering of the Doomed, destroy any monster but skip your next draw phase. Forbidden Chalice negates the effects of one of your opponent's monsters. Scapegoat again, so we have 2 decks, so we have like 6 copies of Scapegoat. Swords of Revealing Light, a very powerful old school goat card. Reasoning, search for a monster of specific level. Fires of Doomsday, special summon 2 tokens, 1 for 1, be able to special summon level 1, and then Terraforming. Then for the trap cards, we have Packet Link, which is pretty much like a really powerful card, especially with the extra deck, because you can special summon multiple level 2 or lower monsters from your deck for absolutely free. Wild Tornado, destroys spell and trap card. Trap Church, Trap Hole Nightmare. This is a like a trap hole, but it negates. Blazing Mirror Force. So we have another version of Blazing Mirror Force. So this is actually kind of interesting because I'm now going for a newer build with the deck. Instead of running 1 type of Mirror Force, I'm running 3 different variants of Mirror Force because a buddy of mine online actually runs 1 of each Mirror Force, and it's actually quite effective in his decks, and we've been playing back and forth with each other, and it's been a lot of fun. Continuing on, we have Trap Stun, Safe Zone, Call to Haunted, Reckless Greed, a very powerful card. We actually kind of need this in the deck, and then Debug. Then the last 2 monsters, we have Traffic Ghost and Lanfornicus for the finish off the deck for the structure deck. So that is what is in both of the structure decks. We're actually going to just open 1 of each of them, and we're going to move straight on to the big ones. This is what people want to open, what people want to see, and we're going to need a pair of scissors. Screw it. Trying to open this. This is some really tight seal. 2 boxes of Maximum Gold. So I didn't really explain much of the Cybers cards. Like I said before, I didn't explain much of the Cybers cards because everyone kind of knows what they are. If you want to get into Cybers, I actually recommend the Cybers archetype. The reason I'm choosing the Cybers stuff to go with the Seal Only deck because it's the easiest way to get access to a lot of the easy staples, like getting access to Call to Haunted, Reckless Greed, Cosmic Compass, just all the like very powerful staples. And now for the so each one of these little boxes right here contains 4 packs of Maximum Gold, which has practical reprints of this is practically a Dual Devastator 2.0. Yep. 5 here and 5 more to also open in the next thing. So we're gonna open. So we're actually gonna pause the video here so we can open these up because these are a pain in the butt, and we'll get to you when we get these open. And a Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is also valuable. But yes, this is literally the opening. That's all the very expensive cards right here, kind of lined up. Then we have the big pile here. But yeah, we have the more expensive ones right here. We got the Chaos Dragon, we got the Red Eyes Black Dragon, we got the Monster Reborn, the Super Poly, the Polymerizations. We have literally we have 3 Boral Swords. I don't know what to do with 3 Boral Swords. We got the Appaloosas and the Ultimate. We got 2 Thunder Duster, 3 Droll. We have a play set of 3 different hand traps. Then we have big, fat, meaty stack of rares, ranging from Barrier Statues to the Brotherhood to the Heroes to Invoked that we have to kind of organize and get through, as well as like staples and stuff in certain decks. But yeah, we have literally have like one of the best openings I think any person can possibly have in like sealed only Yu-Gi-Oh. And keep this in mind that we did this opening and it's a lot more than what I said in the first episode, only because it's Christmas, people want to see big openings, and I felt like we had to go big. And we went big and we got a lot things, and I personally think we've got what we have, what it could actually take to play it, or we actually now can make our deck playable now. As well as have a bunch of stuff I'm going to have to organize. So, if you guys, alright, so we've got the major opening. Thank you for joining us for the channel. I will have an updated deck profile of the Charmer deck that will come out soon, of the new updated post the Christmas opening for you guys. I'm also going to have the records and stuff and the deck profile for the original build of the deck. If you guys want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and hit the like button. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to it, and I'll talk to you guys all later. See ya.